Hi everybody, today's the day where we are going to replicate Noel Gallagher's live acoustic guitar sound. Now for Noel Gallagher's 2025 Oasis reunion guitar rig, we've been lucky enough to get some high resolution images of that for all amplifiers, guitars, as well as rack systems. And TheChiefsGuitars, he did a phenomenal job of analyzing everything that's in Noel Gallagher's rig. I also made a video based on that. We already know Noel's electric guitar sound really good. But what's also fascinating to me personally is his acoustic guitar rig. Noel's always had this lovely acoustic guitar sound for both high-flying birds and especially his acoustic solo appearances, for example, for The Dreams We Had as Children in the Albert Hall for the Teenage Cancer Trust. Now, Noel always had some sort of pickup in his acoustic guitars, especially in the later years, and I always expected that his signal from the acoustic guitar would just be put out to the front of house mixing desk and then be mixed accordingly. But that's not the case. And from everything we can see from the pictures from Noel's guitar rack system, it's not as trivial as just hooking up the acoustic guitar to the front of house and that's it. There's another signal chain there. And from everything we can see on the pictures of Noel's rack system, it's not as trivial as just hooking up the guitar, the acoustic guitar, to the front of house and that's it. There are two other components involved in this equation. First of all, it's an SIB Fatdrive, and the signal from the acoustic guitar directly hits that Fatdrive, and the output from the Fatdrive just goes into an Avalon U5, especially designed for bass and acoustic guitars from everything I've read on the internet. Let's just replicate Noel's acoustic guitar sound together. Now, in terms of guitars, I do have my trusty Epiphone EJ-300 acoustic guitar with an LR Baggs M1 active pickup in it. This is a similar configuration as Noel had in the later Oasis days, and especially in 08 and 09, as well as the acoustic gigs there. He switched to a different pickup system afterwards, but more on that later. Now for me personally, and especially with my YouTube videos, I've always kind of been not satisfied with my acoustic guitar tone, even though this guitar sounds amazing on its own. And also the M1 pickup is a rather nice pickup. So for me personally, and especially with my YouTube videos, I've always been plugging in my acoustic guitar with the M1 pickup directly into my UAD Apollo interface with the high Z input in front. Either that or going through a small Mackie mixer that's in the backline there. And I've always been not satisfied with my guitar sound, with my acoustic guitar sound. It always lacked a bit of everything in my opinion. And to have a bass line, let's just plug in this guitar with a cable straight into the audio interface, straight into Logic, which is the program that I use to record. And let's get this bass line and let's see how it sounds. Now it's a decent sound in my opinion, but it's not the real deal. Now I will set up the SIB Fatdrive as well as the Avalon U5 preamp, and let's just add in these components one by one and let's hear how it shapes the sound. So now that the Avalon U5 as well as the Fatdrive are in the loop, let's just explain the signal chain briefly. I do have the LR Baggs M1 pickup in this acoustic guitar here. The cable, the output of the acoustic guitar, goes straight into the input of the Fatdrive. The Fatdrive's output is connected to the input of the Avalon U5. And the Avalon U5's output is then connected to a small mixer with the gain and everything set to 0, so it's just transparent. And this mixer then feeds its stereo output back to my UAD Apollo here, so that I can record everything into Logic. Now in terms of settings, let's first start with the Avalon, and I have the Fatdrive disengaged for the moment. So it's currently not activated because I really want you to hear the difference there. Now let's stay with the Avalon U5 for the moment. It's got an input that I hooked up the output of the Fatdrive to. It's got a boost knob as well as a tone knob. And from everything I could see from Noel's rack pictures, the tone is set to right about noon. So not that much tone shaping going on from the Avalon. As well as the boost, that I expect that to be right around between 3 and 4. And here in my demo I have set it to 4. High cut is disengaged, speaker to input is disengaged, that's for something else. Then we have the power LED, the active to through button is disengaged, but the tone circuitry within the Avalon that corresponds to that button on the far right hand side, that's enabled. That's active. So you just heard me playing this acoustic guitar with the LR Baggs and one active pickup directly into my audio interface, and didn't sound that great, didn't sound that warm. Now with the Avalon in the signal chain, that changes, and let's hear how that sounds. Again, the Fatdrive is currently not engaged, it's not active at the moment. Also, what I forgot to mention, I added in a little bit of reverb that's within the console application. It's a Software-Reverb by UAD, that to just give it a little bit of spark as well. The same reverb you heard also in the last demo without all this in the loop, so we can actually compare the sounds. Now immediately you can hear that the sound just got warmer by having this really phenomenal Class A amplifier that is the Avalon U5 within the loop. But still, the sounds just lacks a bit of everything again. And that's actually where the Fatdrive comes into picture. And when I tested this out for the first time, I just couldn't believe how well that sounded. I mean, the Fatdrive, it's an electric guitar pedal. Some people do use it for bass, but it's designed to be an electric guitar pedal. And when I saw that picture of Noel Gallagher's rack for the first time with the comment that there's a Fatdrive in the loop of the acoustic guitar signal, I just couldn't believe it. And when I got the setup here together and I pushed the button on the Fatdrive for the first moment, my jaw just dropped. Now also when you go to the TheChiefsGuitars website with the explanation of the rack system as well as the acoustic guitar signal chain, you will find a quote there that Noel's got the gain dial of the Fatdrive set to 0. Now that can't be true, and I also suggested that within the comments of his website. His link is down below, by the way, check it out, it's really great. Now the drive control here, which represents the gain of the Fatdrive, it can't be set to 0 because if it would have been set to 0, there would be no output from this pedal. So the drive here just need to be set to 1 at the minimum. Now, unfortunately, we can't see the settings of Noel's Fatdrive that he uses in the rack because it's hidden away. For my setup at least, I have set up the Fatdrive as follows. The volume is, right below 3/4 of the way up. The drive control is a bit past noon. The bass control is set to be a little bit before noon. The middle is set to 3/4 and the treble is set to full. Since these jumbo guitars here do have a lot of bottom end, I decided to set the treble control to full just to compensate that. That's my logic behind there. And the Fatdrive also has a bright switch, and that will be enabled as well. That's engaged. Let's just have some fun with this acoustic guitar here and this setup. You will hear why Noel uses that exact same setup for his acoustic guitar signal chain. Now that just sounds out of this world in my opinion. I kind of understand why Noel would choose setup like that for all his acoustic stuff. Hang on a minute, there's just a little bit more to this equation as well. Because from everything we could see on the Dig Out Your Soul tour, for example, in 08 and 09, as well as Noel's acoustic guitar sessions, as well as High Flying Birds, I guess, but I'm not too sure, is that Noel plays this LR Baggs M1 pickup in it. And this is very distinguishable from other acoustic guitar pickups because it's just this big cream bar here in the sound hole. But Noel actually never used this one pickup, this M1 pickup alone. I suspect that he always had a second pickup somewhere right around here within the acoustic guitar, underneath the bridge here, and had a second cable out of his acoustic guitar, especially for that pickup. So Noel's acoustic guitar, you know, the famous J150 with the Adidas logo here, that had the M1 pickup system in it. There are pictures of Noel where we can clearly see that there are two cables coming out of his acoustic guitar. And I guess that one cable would have been fed with the signal from the M1 pickup, and the other cable would have been fed from the signal from some other pickup, I think right around here under the bridge. Now, I don't want to drill a second hole in this acoustic guitar. By the way, if you want to know more about this guitar or any of my other guitars, I've made a new series called Nicholas Guitar Stories, where I'll actually tell the story behind all of my guitars. First episode is already online. That's about the black Gibson Les Paul Noel Gallagher signature. Check it out. I'll link it down below and in the top right corner as well. Now, yeah, I don't want to drill a second hole into this guitar, and I think Noel was fed up with that as well, because always having two cables hanging out of your acoustic guitar, that's just not that practical. That's why I think right around in the middle era of High Flying Birds, as well as now with Oasis, this pickup configuration here with the LR Baggs M1 pickup has vanished from Noel's guitars. He doesn't use that pickup anymore, and instead he switched to another pickup system from LR Baggs, and this pickup system is called the Anthem pickup. Now it's a combination of two pickups in one. The LR Baggs Anthem pickup has got a sound hole pickup as well as another kind of microphonic pickup underneath the bridge, and you can actually blend the two signals there, and it's It's just another pickup system, and that replaced the two pickup system that Noel had with the M1 pickup. I do have another acoustic guitar there with another pickup system in it. Now this guitar is an Epiphone EJ-300 inspired by Gibson Custom. This guitar, when you buy it new, originally comes with an LR Baggs VTC system in it. It's just one sound hole pickup, that's it. Now, when I bought this guitar from a music store, I made a special request that they could fit this guitar with an LR Baggs Anthem pickup system. Same pickup system as Noel uses in his acoustic guitars nowadays. The LR Baggs Anthem system's got a sound hole pickup in there, as well as a microphonic under bridge pickup. It's right around below this area here. And there's no need for two cables coming out of the acoustic guitar. And now there's no need anymore for two cables coming out of this acoustic guitar. And let's just plug in this guitar with the LR Baggs Anthem system into the same setup as the other guitar was just plugged in, so we can finally hear the 100% replicated Noel Gallagher acoustic guitar tone. And I forgot to mention in terms of pickup settings here, this got two dials here. One is the output dial, I set that to full, as well as the blend dial. And for this blend dial, think of it as a three-way toggle switch for electric guitar pickups, for example. When you put it all the way to this end here, it's just a sound hole pickup. If you put it all the way to this end here, it's just a under bridge pickup. And if you put it in the middle, it's both of them combined, blended. And that's exactly what I did. This blend dial is in the middle, so we get the best of both worlds, the best of the sound hole pickup, and the best of the under bridge pickup. That just sounded phenomenal. Now you maybe understand why Noel actually preferred to use two pickups, because the blend of them just sounds incredible. Let's have some fun. Let's play some more Oasis and Noel acoustic guitar riffs, and yeah, let's see where we end up. think that's it for this video. In terms of guitar strings, I do have the same set as Noel Gallagher has. They're the Darios. I'll link them down in the description. As always, like, comment and subscribe. That would help me out a lot and the growth of this channel. Stay tuned for the next one. There are loads of more content coming your way. Until the next time, cheers!